You want to make a training video? Why would I want to give it to an agency when I can just, get it done?
Looking at your journey, and I think I'm very intrigued about it, and a very interesting journey you have.
It's been a journey of accidents which have made my life interesting. What it takes to build a high-performing team. I think at the crux of it, it requires clarity in what you want to accomplish.
What are the key characteristics or the key things that one should keep in mind when you are building high-performing teams?
Teams work better when you are more transparent about what you hope to. My experience with Ford in the US, we worked in a really large team. Ford has close to 600 to 800 people who are just focused on the marketing aspects, not the sales yet. I've been experimenting with Gemini and VO3, using Flow for some of the videos that we use internally. Right? You want to make a training video? Why would I want to give it to an agency when I can just, get it done?
You can just do it now. Yeah. Exactly.
AI is not necessarily thinking right now. They are getting inspired by others. The kind of story you craft will be important because that's what's going to build your legacy.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the B2B Marketing Podcast, presented by B2B World Summit and powered by Brand Story. This is where we talk about ideas, trends, and strategies that are shaping the future of B2B marketing. I am your host, Saikat Das Mohanty, and today we are going to be talking about culture, talent, and the future of B2B marketing teams, the people side of marketing. Joining us today is Anunay Sahay, General Manager, Marketing and Strategy at Quest Corp Limited. Welcome to the show, Anunay, and it's great to have you here today. Before I begin, I've been looking at your journey, and I think I'm very intrigued about it, and a very interesting journey you have from a hospitality industry to what you do today, which is a workforce solution and hiring solution, kind of staffing solutions company. So can you please let us know, one is about your thoughts about this podcast, and second about your journey, if you can share with the audience here.
Thanks, Saket. Thank you for having me on this podcast. My journey, believe it or not, I didn't want to be in where I am today. My ambition was to be a lawyer.
Interesting.
And if you see my first job, it was not a lawyer. I was a hotelier.
Yeah.
Right. So it's been a journey of accidents which have made my life interesting. Right. I have beginning with hotels, doing operations, going from there into, I was just consulting and doing urban planning, which I had zero idea about and had to read a lot of books for.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun because you got to learn so much.
Right.
And I realized that very early on, you learn so much from each job that goes into your next job.
Mm-hmm.
Right. In consulting, you have to manage your clients. In hotels, you have to manage your clients. Right. So no matter where you go, you are kind of building your soft skills, which go into your new job in a new way. And you just redefine how to utilize them. Right. And that followed me through when I went to Ford as well, and now at Quest. I think every subsequent change has led to me learning something new and has brought me to a point where I feel there is always new learning to be taken everywhere. And I think that's that's kind of what I really value about this podcast. It's a chance for us to exchange ideas.
Right.
It's a chance for us to think about our journeys differently.
Right.
And I think that will be fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great. And what I see is, it's always been people at the center of it.
Yes.
Okay. For us, whether it is hospitality, whether it is an auto company, or whether what you're doing today, it's people at the center of everything. And I think that's what you love doing. And even if you would have been lawyers, you would have been actually talking about them.
People and their problems.
Yeah, people and their problems. So I think that's a very interesting thing. And I think it's a good start to our discussion also. So, even I think, coming to people and to organizations, I think people actually define or create the identity of organizations. Okay. And that's why it's so important for organizations, marketing teams to have people who really have that values of the organizations, and they actually talk about it, whether it is internally or whether it is externally. So they actually need to talk about it, and that's what I believe. And if a person does not do that, then I think it's not really worth it. So. What do you think, in your perspective, how do you think about it? Because your journey has been very completely about that.
No, I hear you, and I think I echo it to some extent. But I also have like a little different perspective on this. I have been a people manager almost throughout my career. Right. I began my career with Taj, and I suddenly inherited a team where people had. I was a fresher on board, and I had people on my team who had 25 years plus of experience.
Right. Wow.
Right. And that's something that really jolts you the first time they come and tell you, you have to do things differently.
Right.
And what I've realized is there are three things that I feel are common to any kind of, team that you get into.
Right.
One, the easiest from my perspective is building a team from scratch. Easier because you get to choose what the dynamics will be. You get to choose the kind of people you will want in that team, right? And that's easy because then you can just, either you're hiring freshers and training them up, or you're getting people who are, laterals, but bring together the right kind of fit to that team.
Yeah.
Two, where you inherit a team, and now you have to re-assimilate or reforge them, right? Because that's where you kind of build on their strengths, but bring them together in a different way. Because every person you bring in brings with them their own egos, their own expectations, their own way of doing things. So how do you align them is, I think, key there. The third piece is, a mixture, right? Sometimes you come in and you learn that, half the team is gone. Half of them stayed.
Right.
And then you have to find the right mix to balance it out.
Yeah.
And make it work.
Correct.
So I think all three are fairly common in everyone's experiences. And I'm sure you've had the similar
absolutely.
experiences.
Absolutely.
What I feel is key is tying them together. And this typically is about building trust.
Yes.
It's about having open communication.
Right.
And the trust comes from, knowing that the team members will have your back. Right. I think that's key to any team succeeding.
Right.
And I've been lucky that I've been exposed to very large teams and very small teams. Right. And the most difficult is when, you're a peer and then suddenly you start managing that team.
Right.
Right. And that is, I think, another whole journey. So as part of my journey, if you ask me, what it takes to build a high performing team, I think at the crux of it, it requires clarity in what you want to accomplish.
Right.
A team needs to have an end goal in mind, and that, whether it's an individual who's under you, or it's who's doing one unique thing,
right,
or they're working together to accomplish something. Right. Unless you have that clarity, they can never be sure about what they want to accomplish.
Got it.
Right.
Interesting. And I also think, I think you mentioned about the three types of, teams. One is hiring completely on your own, the entire team that you build. And then there is inheriting, and there is a mixture of that. I think most of us probably would have inherited a team. Okay. And that's where we also see a lot of problems also, because the expectations and, the way people think about it. Okay, I used to work like this, and how is the new person coming in? There's a lot of expectations and
there's a lot of friction.
There's a lot of friction there. Yes. Okay. And in that case, now you spoke about high performing teams also. I think which is very important, that in a evolving marketing landscape, especially in a B2B industry, which is evolving really, really fast today. We need to have high performing teams, and we need to have, teams which really, really work collaboratively and, work closely. Okay. While you mentioned about that, what do you think, what are the key characteristics or the key things that, one should, keep in mind? Trust is one point that you mentioned, which is very, very important. But what are the other things that one should keep in mind when you are building high-performing teams?
I think more than trust, the first, like I said, is clarity. Once
Right.
you are clear about the objectives.
Right.
Trust comes with time. So you need to have patience,
Got it.
right? If you have these three in place, trust, clarity, and patience,
Yeah.
then what is next is, accountability, right? If the team feels they are accountable for what they are doing, they will always step up,
Correct.
right? If they feel, that they are the one who's going to make this happen,
Right.
that's when they will deliver,
Right.
right? Very often what happens is, and this is a function of that clarity piece, right? You get mixed messaging.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know what of it you own.
Yeah.
And what of it you don't.
Don't own. Yeah.
Right? So how do you go about defining that better? Right? That, I think, is a key thing. It's easier when you have more experience, right? But at a point where you're a fresher or you have very limited experience, I think that comes from experimentation. That comes from having the chance to take on something as a project maybe, or smaller piece of the bigger whole, and building it and having a
Right.
chance to fail and get guided by the rest of the team.
Right.
I think that has worked best in my experience.
Got it.
Right? When you give people that first chance or that first few chances of proving their mettle, that's when you build their confidence and trust in the rest of the team, and that they have your back as
Got
you
it.
work towards delivering that
Got it.
clear goal that you have.
Okay.
Now, the mixed messaging piece is not always a part of the team.
It's not. Yes. It is not. Yes.
It's more to do with the environment
Right.
than it is to do with the actual team.
Actual team. Okay.
Right? Because once you have all these pieces in place, then it's about how do you filter out things in your environment, right, which are distracting you.
Right.
Right. How I think in my experience, my most recent experience, right, what I've seen is teams work better when you are more transparent about what you hope to,
Right.
accomplish together. And when you tell them, hey, you own this piece, let's work towards how we can make it better for you to make it happen.
Got it.
Right? That guidance, as I feel, is the job of the manager and the management team. So that finding that balance there will be key.
So do you think, generally, if you look at marketing team structures, traditionally it has been a very, very, traditional structure with a CMO, then there's a brand head, and then there are different level of people that are there. Okay, now when you talk about transparency, clarity, and all of that, you mentioned about that. So do you think, the linear structure which used to always be there and everybody had been assigned certain tasks to do, so is that today going away and people are getting more into working in a more flexible environment where I can do multiple things? I can probably provide more. Even if I'm looking at a certain function within the marketing, I can also provide more into other functions. Do you think that is somewhere kind of going away? And I'm also talking from a perspective of large organizations or big organizations like like say Tata, for example, or for my company, for example, or smaller companies or startups which are coming up. Do you think somewhere that kind of a marketing structure is also fading away, or it's a combination of that?
I think traditionally the companies have had an approach, right, where that linear structure, if it's embedded deeply into the way they function,
Correct.
it's very difficult to get away from it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, like once you're once you've established your sync with the way you want things to be accomplished,
Right.
You're not going to be changing things because you've proved the pudding.
Right.
Right. I think what's changing is the market dynamics in some ways. People are putting more pressure on cost, especially with AI coming in and people trying to disrupt things.
Right.
I think that is what's changing the dynamic of the teams as well. For startups, it was always about, managing lean teams.
Yeah.
For big orgs,
Being more agile.
Yeah.
And being fast. Yeah.
Yeah. For, I've been lucky to be exposed to both, right? In my experience with Ford in the US, we worked on a really large team. Like for just the North American market in marketing, Ford has close to around 600 to 800 people who are just focused on the marketing aspects, not the sales yet.
Okay.
Right.
That's huge. That's a huge
there's
number.
a field sales team apart from that. And then there are people offshore who are supporting this. Right. So it's a very different org, and it's got so many different moving parts.
Right.
Right. Now this comes with it's not B2B marketing in the way that we think about it.
Correct.
But when you think about it, the way automotive industry as a space works, the OEM is promoting their vehicle,
right?
But it's a dealership who's selling them,
right?
And the dealership is not got anything to do with the OEM, right? So they are a separate, business in their own right.
Yeah. And OEMs have their own marketing functions and structures.
Exactly. And what I just talked about is the marketing structure at the OEM.
Oh no! So I meant the distributors have their own marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
They have their entirely different structure and teams.
So what I learned there is, that for a org like that, it's that kind of team is needed, right? Why? Because say you're pricing a vehicle that you're going to put on the website. Just one variation of that vehicle brings in so much more complexity.
Right.
And you don't understand, as one person, it is no way I can know all the things about that one vehicle, right? So you need to have that team that comes together.
Correct.
Then there is that piece about, it's the startup side. In a startup, you're building your idea, right? And you don't necessarily have a lot of leeway until you've gotten good funding.
Correct.
To really go all out.
Correct.
But what you see most often is the startups that are very clear and, are more conservative in some ways on keeping the teams lean. They are the ones who really I've seen succeed.
Right.
Right. You have the funding. You can't just go all out and decide, I'm going to suddenly, push in 60% of my funding towards marketing, and hence I will grow.
Right.
It's a cumulative process where everything upgrades, right? And hence you get a product that is hitting the market right and getting that interest. Now, if you look at these two contrasts, what I see is in a Ford-like organization, what really works well is that when you have people, doing some amount of cross-functional training. If I'm a project manager and I don't know how a copywriter works, right? I will never be able to, manage that person well.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, yes, I could be a star project manager, and that could help me deliver well. But at the same time, unless I understand the nuance of the people around me, right, I cannot ever deliver a project on time or with the right kind of output. Right.
And that also helps, when you know the people that you're working with and their strengths and all, and what kind of work they're doing, it also helps in creating the, teams that, the high performance that we need in marketing today. I think.
And even like when you mentioned in the beginning where you talked about the, hierarchy of people.
Right.
You grow up the hierarchy only when you know more.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So how does that knowledge come in? It's through your observance or through your trying out different things.
Right.
So I think it's just that the structures are more rigid in a corporate hierarchy.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of with the change that's coming in from a cost perspective, with the from a perspective of finding more value faster. I think you'll see more teams becoming hybrid than staying traditional.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So the traditional remains, but more lean and hybrid models are also coming in, where people with generalist skills are also taking up this kind of. You don't need to be always specialist. You need to have teams which you can work with.
Yeah, I think as we grow, right. The entire space is changing, right?
I know.
What has happened in the last 3 years, I didn't think that would happen right? But there are people who did foresee it, and that's why they built those companies with
Yes, absolutely.
disruption.
I don't want to go, 5 years, 10 years down the line, but I'm just thinking about the now, right now, and the way things are happening with AI. And AI is the talking point in the last couple of years now.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that everybody is talking about. Okay.
Agreed.
And there are some functions within marketing which actually AI can really take up. Say for example, content writing. You talk about website designing. You talk about design elements and things like that. These are something which I think a lot of companies that I have seen now have started using AI to generate those kind of content and use it. Okay. So in this context, while you mentioned about you have a vision of 5, 10, 30 years, but in this context where things are happening now, when AI is changing it really, really fast, where should we look at? What do you think from that perspective also?
This is something I tell my team very often today.
Okay.
Right? There's this very nice movie from a few years back called Hidden Figures.
Yeah.
Right? And they talk about how there are this group of women who learn how to use IBM.
Yeah.
They were calculators. They used to calculate how the space shuttle will operate at what times. Right. So, and then there are this group of people who use the abacus and get the same job done. And when you think about it, I think that's where we are at.
Right.
There are a group of people who will be early adopters.
Right.
And there'll be a group of people who are resistant to the idea of adopting anything.
Right.
Right. So I think it's our job as marketing leaders today to help our teams understand that you don't necessarily need to be early adopters, but you need to be highly aware of the space. And you need to start doing some amount of experimentation right now if you want to still stay in this space.
Right.
Yeah. Because we are, I think the way we are iterating today in this space, in terms of the tools that are available to us,
right.
What is true today is not true in 3 months' time.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, just look at VO3 and what's been happening. Gemini front, when you look at, how they've been. When Sora launched, I was amazed by the kind of videos they were creating.
Right.
And now I'm thinking, I've been experimenting with Gemini and VO3, using Flow for some of the videos that we use internally.
Right.
You want to make a training video? Why would I want to give it to an agency when I can just, get it done?
You can just do it now. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. But at the same time, I think it's also about, the burn that you, do. Right? The more one person does, the more they burn out, right? That's the reality of life. So I think it will be important to balance the two, right? Find your balance in terms of how much AI you want to bring in.
Right.
And you don't need to bring in. It's not a question of whether you should, right? But how it will augment you.
Right.
Because the human element is also, you mentioned copywriting, right? And what I've learned from my experimentation in this space is, AI is not necessarily thinking right now.
The way a human will, think.
They are not thinking. They are getting inspired by others.
Right.
What they have done is they've got these large language model, which has gone and looked at a lot of data sets.
Right.
And they have used that to adapt a response. Right. But in the course of the work that we're doing, if you start looking at that as your example, and we do a lot of benchmarking and learn from other companies, but your unique voice gets lost.
Absolutely.
When you don't have this human element influencing the overall narrative.
Right.
I think that is what's going to be interesting about.
And I kind of agree with you also, because I attended a event just a couple of days back, and one very interesting conversation was happening. And this gentleman, he talked about a very similar thing that you mentioned, don't let AI come to you. Go to AI. And that's what you mentioned, we need to embrace it and we need to augment it to what we do today. I think it's a very valid point. And you also mentioned about, the emotions and what a human can bring in.
Yeah.
And to that point, how important is it, to align up people with the brand values? Because I believe AI cannot emote that, what my brand's values are. And the only thing and only people who work in the organization can only, talk about brands, values, and they can only, share that, okay, this is what my brand does, and they're very proud of it, So how do you think, brands should start looking at that and need to ensure that they imbibe that real brand value into their people in a very positive way, where they think, where the employees or the people think, okay, yes, I'm part of the, organization.
This is something that I've been thinking a lot about recently.
Okay.
Right. My current company is going through a lot of change.
Right.
Right. We demerged recently.
Yeah.
And that brings with it a set of issues or challenges, right, around communications.
Right.
Right. Because when you're going through a demerger, there is a small group who's doing a lot of the thinking.
Right.
But the communication of that thinking doesn't necessarily go to the rest.
Yeah.
Right. Because you feel that you want to control it, you want to, but I think it's part of any organization today to build that narrative. If you don't do it, you're at a loss because you lose steam at some point.
Correct.
And I think values are a key to this journey because they kind of define who you are.
Right.
If you look at some of the orgs that you'll see in the market, sometimes it's more about the kind of environment you build.
Right.
And I'm taking this little, I know you've asked a very different question. I'm taking it on a segue.
Yeah.
But what I've realized is when you work in a founder-led company, right, you see they have a drive to achieve certain goals.
Right.
Okay, you hit 100,000 something.
Yeah.
What about 1 million, right? And what about more than that?
Yes.
Right. When they come to work, they don't think about, whether I have to work 8 hours or 9 hours.
Yes.
They think about
I have to achieve this
vision
goal
that they want to achieve.
Yeah.
Right. They think about the kind of energy that they need to bring to the table to convince their clients to make the right choice.
Right.
Right. They have to think about the way they, engage with their team to inspire them.
Right.
Now, it's still teamwork. It's still focused on customers.
Yeah.
It's still focused on, the overall vision of the company. It's still about innovating.
Yes.
But it's more focused on the emotions behind these.
Right.
And if you get that right, you are at a much better place than if you were just talking about your values.
Right.
And I think that's where marketing is playing a very important piece.
Okay.
The internal communications piece, the kind of story you craft, right, will be, important because that's what's going to build your legacy and build your future teams.
Right.
Recently, Zoho did this amazing campaign, and I don't know if you've seen it. Right. It takes time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, it takes time to build culture.
Correct.
And culture is not your company's values.
Yeah.
It's how you engage. Right. So, when you're communicating, it's very important to get that human element, that the right amount of attention.
Right.
And I think that is something that today a lot of companies are not necessarily getting right on their first go. I don't know whether you've had this experience, but at least having worked with a lot of orgs, I've seen this, that, there are companies that don't talk about their values.
Right.
They talk about how people have lived those values.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They don't talk about, the vision. They talk about what impact it will bring.
What impact it will bring. Yes, I agree completely.
Right.
Yeah.
And
a lot of brands do that.
Yeah. And I think that is the right kind of narrative when it comes to, communicating what those values mean. Because, think about it. A lot of the orgs that I've been to, or I even talk to these days, talk about, I have free lunch. I have such amazing food.
Yeah, that's
right. I have a sleeping pod, right?
Yeah.
And that's not building culture.
That's not a big culture, or that's not values about.
I have branding, I'm talking about building a team the right way, right? It's if you align with the vision, if you align with the ethos and the the emotions of the company, you are at the end of the day, a company. You say company, organization. But the reality is it's a group of people. People have emotions.
Yes.
If you connect with them,
Yeah.
you're going to build something powerful.
Yes.
If you don't, you're going to struggle. That's my way of looking at it.
Correct. I completely, I think I agree with you on that point. I think and a lot of people talk about the free lunches, the sleeping pods and all of that, which I think a lot of these companies provide today. But I think you also mentioned about Zoho. Okay. I think one of the interesting companies where I've seen very, very interesting way of, communicating their values. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think one of the recent campaigns that they did was about, I think they were open for hiring people. And the communication was a very interesting video-led communication along with somebody from their people who work there, and they coming and talking about the values, or they coming and talking about how life is at Zoho in a very different way, in a very fun way, and also talking about the profile that they're looking for. I think that also shows how people, look at Zoho as a brand,
Definitely.
and they feel, we all might think, big brands like Google, etc., provide so many things, but nobody talks about the values in this way, the way, this brand has come about. I just wanted to, touch upon this one. When we say AI is the enabler and we are the drivers, okay, so for organizations today, what do you think from a perspective of talent, because they are one of the key assets of an organizations, okay? So do you think, organizations today, and this is coming from your experience with Quest Corp, is that are organizations today looking at hiring only talent which are really fit for the role, or probably aligned with the brand values? Do they look at that way, or do you think internally they are nurturing the talent? Because I believe both are equally important. Obviously, to get some kind of skill set and some kind of nurturing the talent.
Sure. So I think in my current org, this is a mixed bag, right? And I say this because we are in the business of people,
Right.
So if you are going to be providing contractual workforce to a company,
Right.
that contractual workforce rarely has any kind of loyalty,
Right.
either to the client or to the contractor,
Yeah.
right? Which is the staffing company.
Yeah.
So there you're looking for transactional, pieces. Do you think they're not looking to build a career with you?
Right.
They're looking to, get the next 6 months into a company where they can earn money and eventually maybe convert into that company's employees and,
Right.
build from there.
Right.
The other side of it is the people who are non-revenue generating.
Right.
These are the people who are responsible for building the company,
Right.
from building the headcount of contract workers to
Right.
a higher number. Because how do you aspire to grow? You aspire by adding more people
Right.
in a company like mine.
Yeah.
So these people you really have to invest in and build them up in a way that they are enabled to help, influence other people to come and join us.
Right.
Right. And I think that is important.
Yeah.
So in this context, right, if you think about it, the contract workers are, are moments in time,
Yes.
right? That's what they are for the company.
Yeah.
Whereas, they, in the life of a company, they are there for seconds. For the people who are non-revenue generating, they are the lifeline who are going to be there for years, right? And you have to find a way to connect with them, to help them align in a way that can deliver. I'm sorry. I think I'm losing context here. Maybe you want to rephrase that question and it's even a little bit more.
No, so basically my point was that whether it is about hiring the right talent who imbibe the brand's value, or do you think people are talking about nurturing talent more? And
I think it's both.
It's both.
The advantage that my company has is that we work with a large variety of companies and people.
Right.
So that means that we have the opportunity to hire a large variety of people.
Right.
Because everyone has their own space.
Yeah.
And we can possibly find something to do, for them to do. Now, what is important again here is, as you grow, right, these people grow with you, right? Now, you want these people to be on a track where they are constantly learning. So that nurture bit becomes important. Because, when you have someone who's been in an org for 15 years, 20 years, and some of the older orgs, you'll find them for 30, 35 years, right?
Right.
If they have not learned, they will stop adding value as they go,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that learning happens through nurturing.
Absolutely.
What does that nurture mean is very different from the, depending on the person and the org.
Yeah, depending on per person or the industry they're working in. So it all depends on that.
And I know, going back to that bit about the learning and development department, right? Very often when you start your journey in a company, right, you don't know whether you really want to be doing what you're doing.
Right.
I wanted to be a lawyer. I became a hotelier.
You became a
From hotelier, I became a consultant.
Yeah.
What did I want to be doing?
Yeah.
Right? I wanted to do something where I could solve problems.
Right.
That was what I really enjoyed. So that's what I've been doing for the last 14 years now.
Yes.
Right? But that's just me. Right? But for the org to derive value from me, right? People look, and I see this problem a lot today is they want that exact fit with their hiring.
Yeah.
Right? They don't look at the potential when they're hiring.
Right.
But the reality is different. Right? When you go into an org, and I'm sure you will have examples of this as well.
Yeah.
How often do you stretch beyond your role?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You actually do it fairly often. Whether you're coordinating with another team,
Right.
you have to understand their perspective.
Yeah.
Right? In my current role, I work with HR every day. I work with finance. I work with procurement. So I'm sure you do in some way or format with such similar teams as well.
Yes.
Right? And if you're not connecting with them,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to deliver what you need to deliver.
Right.
And that means that you have to be able to open to ideas,
Yeah.
to nurture not just as an individual, but as a team.
As a team.
Right? To be able to connect to get that delivered,
Got it.
to make that happen, whatever that needs to happen.
Interesting. Got it. So I think companies today are looking at both the parts of it, and I think, and that's how I think you actually.
No, I mean, I think this is a very worrisome point in some ways. Think about it. I have been hearing about companies cutting costs and laying off people, right? And freshers getting deferred because they want laterals to bring in what needs to succeed. Now, in my current company, every quarter we release reports about GCCs and what hiring they're doing, and what skill sets they want and all that. And what you realize is there's such a big supply deficit, right? There are people getting laid off every day,
Right.
but there's still a supply deficit.
Right.
How? It's because the skills that the people require are changing.
Yeah.
Now, unless you, as a company, invest in the individual to reskill them and get them to a point where they are, matching your future needs, you're not likely to be able to succeed.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the same example as hidden figures. Again, right? If you don't learn what's new and adapt to it, you will get left behind.
Right.
Right? And so, but I think it's a joint responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to learn what you need for the future.
Yes.
And the org needs to help you get to the point where you are prepared for the future as well.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's a very interesting point that you mentioned. I think completely agree. I think, and I completely echo with you also on some of those points. That's great. So I think,
if you don't mind me asking, what do you not agree with?
But if you, it's not about not agreeing with it. Also, it's a different perspective that we have. But I think what you mentioned in terms of the points, I think it's a very relevant, and that's what organizations today should do and should be doing. That's in different perspectives. Yeah. Perfect. So thank you so much. I think Anunay, I think very very interesting conversation we had, and what I take from here is I think the first point you mentioned was the TCP, the three things: trust, clarity, and patience. I think that really builds amazing high performing team that today marketing teams are looking at, and I think it's very important that we build
Everything else can be learned.
Everything else can be learned. I think these three things are very important. That's what I take from this conversation, and I agree with that part of it. And I've also been through situations where maybe the three things were not there, which has led to a lot of chaos within the team. So I think it's very interesting point. And so I think also with technology, which we spoke about, AI and all, while all of that is great and that's going to be there, but I think people remain at the heart of the marketing, and they need to be nurtured. They need to be looked at in a way that they imbibe the values of the brand.
Sorry if I'm segueing here, but one big thing I learned at my Ford experience was the amount of insights data can bring you.
Yeah.
Right? Your color choice can be make such a big difference in your sales.
Right.
I'm not talking about the color of your car.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the color of the button on your website.
Oh.
Right. Okay. I didn't realize it till I went and did that job.
Yeah.
But there's this green button and there's a blue button.
Yes.
Which do you think you'll press more often?
Probably.
I haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it.
Yeah.
And then I looked, and then we did an experiment. Right. So the experiment taught us that you had preference for one.
Yeah.
You were seeing such a higher volume of clicking with the blue than the green.
Yeah.
And I would have not ever thought about this aspect of it. And I think these are the insights technology can really bring for you.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think that insight is more important than with how you're getting there.
Exactly.
Right. It could be coming through people. It could be coming through your knowledge.
Yes.
It could be coming through what the tools are telling you.
Yes.
Right. So you have to just listen to what is out there.
What is out there. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's where technology actually helps us. The data insights today is important, but human bring in that entire piece together. Okay. So I think that's it's an interesting point, and very very good points that you put together.
Thank you.
Very nice to have you here, Anunay.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning into B2B Marketing Podcast. For more such inspiring stories and conversations, join us at the B2B World Summit and Awards 2026 on March 20th in Bangalore. Until then, keep your people in the center of your marketing strategy. Thank you.